Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stoss. Well, it's Monday morning, and it's Monday morning. Are you stopping and wondering, it's Monday again, and I have to get ready and go to work, and you're feeling that heaviness of really not wanting to go to work? So you decide you have to get up and go to work, and you're on your way thinking, what am I doing? Why am I feeling this way? I used to be so excited for Monday mornings and getting ready to go to work, and I was very engaged. What's happened? And sometimes many things have changed, but when we think about that, how are we really feeling? Why are we feeling this way on those Monday mornings when it's time to go back to work? When you think about it, sometimes we start thinking about those Mondays saying, is this real? Is it something in my head? Am I just kind of going through a time of my blues right now? Or, we all have ups and downs in our work, but we really have to stop and evaluate to really see what it is and ask ourselves some questions. So you're not alone out there. Less than 1/3 of our population is fully engaged in their work every day. And when you think about that, that's pretty sad that only 1/3 of us can go to work every day feeling fully engaged in doing what we're doing. There's about, a little over half of us who are like, some days are good, some days are bad. And then there's this percentage that are like every day, they're the ones that are really showing up and they are just vital. They are toxic. Okay, they're causing a lot of toxicity in our environment. But we don't want to get to that point where we're the toxic ones in the environment. And if you recall, we spend about 70% of our life at work. That's a lot. That's a lot of time at work. So how do we really stop and evaluate this feeling? And the feeling when it's time to make change, and the feeling to recognize when this might be something we really have to sit back and evaluate. So let's think about some of the questions we might ask ourselves. Is one, how long have I been feeling this way? Have I been feeling this way for a long time? Are my talents being utilized? Many times we're in a job and we're pretty excited about it, but over time, your talents aren't being utilized. You're not getting to do what you do best, therefore you get disengaged. Are you getting to do what you do best? Are you getting, if you love to be out with customers, are you getting that opportunity? Or are you inside in a cubicle and not having a lot of interaction with people? So stop and think about what that looks like for you. The other types of things to think about is your health being affected? Are you feeling stressed? Are you losing weight or are you gaining weight? Are you just not yourself anymore? When people say, what happened to the old Lori? Where are you? Okay, when others start recognizing that, that usually means that something is wrong. The other thing is your family being affected? When you think back to your values and what's important to us, many of us, know that our kids are most important, but we find ourselves being short and snapping and very impatient and not ourselves with our family. And when that's occurring over and over again, and that intensity or how often the occurrences are occurring is more often, that's another sign. So it's really, those are some of the key signs to start thinking about that when we're starting to feel disengaged in our work and wondering, should there be a change? So when you step back and think about it, there's a time. There's a time for all of us that we have to decide to move forward and move on. But it's sometimes hard to recognize that change that's going on because first we say, oh, something's wrong with me. Maybe it's not that we have that toxic boss who has been mistreating us and we don't recognize it because we think, I'm always the wrong one. I'm always the wrong one. I can never get it right. Well, maybe not. Maybe you are doing your best you can and you can't ever please that boss. Or that boss has toxicity because things that they're holding on to. But you have to step back and recognize, what is that? And is that me? Because first we turn it on to, I'm not good enough or I'm failing in the job. Okay? So really step back and really think about what's going on. So now you've gotten to that point of realization that maybe it's time to make a change. Then what happens? We instantly go to this point of, oh no, I can't do this because you know what? I can't make what I'm making anywhere else. I have so much flexibility. There's no way I can get flexibility, anywhere else. I have built up vacation. I won't get vacation, the amount of vacation I have. Or, you know what? The market's just horrible and there's no jobs out there. Okay, those 4 things you've just stated are really your beliefs that you have that you're creating in your mind because of fear. a fear of change, a fear of feeling like, oh no, maybe I did fail, whatever it might be, we instantly go to those excuses because it's a little scary to think about that change. So really we have to stop and say, you know what, if I really want to make change because of all those other things that we were talking about with our health and our family, we really have to step back and think about those beliefs that we have, because there are lots of organizations hiring, better places even than where you are today, that do offer the same or more pay, great benefits, but we instantly want to kind of shut down that because of the change that we don't want to make. So take a little bit of time to think about what are those beliefs that you might have. So you've come to the realization that something needs to change because your family's being effective, you're not feeling valued. So really you need to first, don't respond very instantaneously. First, take some time off. It's usually good to get out of the situation for a little while, take some time off and step back and reassess the situation, reassess your value. Talk to someone, find somebody, a coach or EAP or a friend, someone where you can kind of talk this through. And sometimes we're afraid to share that conversation with our spouse because we don't want them to be scared, because what if we go through change and those types of things. But you shouldn't be holding it inside. You should really find someone to have that conversation with. So really don't respond quickly to something like this, but really stop and think about those next steps that you can take. You know that change needs to be made, but unless we really stop and do these key items, we really wouldn't be thinking about that next change that needs to occur. So this is a very uncertain time and a very scary time. But the thing is, when you think about, are you doing good for yourself? Are you honoring yourself? And are you really giving your best to your coworkers? It's not fair to them. It's not fair to your family. It's not fair to the company. And it's not fair at all to the clients when you're feeling disengaged. So we really have to take responsibility. And the best thing to do is to make those changes immediately, because if we decide to wait till we're totally disengaged and have some resentment or pain because guess what, we've had some conversations maybe about our performance not being so good, then that's not the best time to be looking for a job, because we're usually not in our best place when we get to that point. So it's really a good time, as soon as you start recognizing this, to get ahead of it versus waiting till the very end when you're feeling so much pain, because that's not the best time to market yourself. So when you think about the positive charge for this week, I want you to step back. Let's go back to those original questions. One is, are you being affected by the Monday morning blues? 2, is this affecting your health? 3, is it affecting your family? And 4, is it affecting those around you at work? So ask yourself those 4 questions. And then 2, if you've answered yes to those, what is your plan of action? Can you schedule some time to take off, or at least have a conversation with someone? So put an action plan together so you can really start taking action towards making new change in your life. So when you think about this whole piece, we're going to continue this series of letting go of that job that's causing you stress. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about, so now that you've decided to say, you know what, I want to make some change, what does that entail? And then we'll have one follow-up from that talking about, if you've decided to make that change, how do you transition from either one position within a company to the next, or even outside to a new company? So this is going to be kind of a 3-part series on really thinking about that career. This is so critical, and I have so many clients who have dealt with this that I feel it needs a lot of time. So I want to give you that time and help you really think through this process. Well, thank you for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.